Hello everybody, welcome to the first video for grade 12 trial exam prep weeks. Many of you requested trig, so I decided that I would do the first question from the November 2021 paper 2 exam that was on trig, and it was this one. They are asking us to, without a calculator, simplify this expression to one trig ratio. That's important. So we're going to have to leave our answer as like a sine x or a cos x or maybe a tan 2x, something like that, but it has to be one trig ratio. Now guys, whenever they say without the use of a calculator and you have a numerical angle like we have for the first one, sine 140, you're going to have to rewrite 140 degrees in terms of one of your quadrants. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite 140 as 180 minus 40. Okay, so that is going to be my first step. I'm going to change sine 140 to sine 180 minus 40. Because then using my reduction formula, I can say that this is in quadrant 2. And then we can say that sine in the second quadrant is positive. So I can just change that to sine 40 in the next step. And we're going to do that for all of these. For the next one, we have sine of 360 minus x. Now that is in terms of x. 360 minus x is in quadrant 4. I'm just quickly going to draw a little Cartesian plane here on the side. So we know that for our Cartesian plane, we have quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we have our cast diagram here. Now sine in the fourth quadrant is negative. So this is going to change to negative sine. And then we can drop the 360 minus and we're left with just x. Next step, cos 50. I'm actually going to leave it as cos 50 for the moment because 50 degrees is already an acute angle. I can't do what I did with 140 over here. I can't write 50 as 180 minus something or 360 minus something. We're going to leave it for now. The next one, tan negative x. Now guys, negative x is also in the fourth quadrant. What is tan in the fourth quadrant? Negative. So this changes to negative tan x. Okay, next step, sine 180 minus 40. I'm just going to change that to sine of 40 like we said. 140 degrees, 180 minus 40 is in the second quadrant and sine is positive there, so that just changes to sine of 40. And now since I have a negative at the top and at the bottom, and this is all one term, I can actually cancel those minuses out. I have my sine x that's left when I cancel that minus out. Now guys, at this point, hopefully you recognize that we can work with our co-ratios, right? Do you remember that sine of 40 degrees is actually equal to cos of 50 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite cos 50, and you don't have to show this as a step. I just want to explain that cos of 50 is the same as cos of 90 minus 40, right? 50 and 90 minus 40, that's the same thing. 90 minus 40 degrees is 50. So when we have a 90 minus, we remember our co-ratios. If I now want to use a reduction formula here, whenever you have a 90 degrees, there, 90 minus or 90 plus, you have to change your cos to a sine like I did here. So cos 50 is in fact equal to sine of 40. There we go. Now we're going to be able to cancel those two out, which I'll do in a second. We're going to be left with just tan x here. But guys, we know that tan x is the same as sine x over cos x. So I'm going to do that. I can't leave my answer as sine over tan because now I'm going to cancel out this sine 40 and that sine 40. And I'm supposed to just have one trig ratio. So I can't possibly leave this tan x just as a tan x. I have to change it to a sine x over cos x. Okay, so now I'm left with a sine x at the top. But guys, instead of dividing by a fraction, which is what I'm doing here, let's tip and times. Let's change that to multiplying by cos x over sine x. All right, you learned about tip and timesing in grade 8. Now we are applying it here. And now look what happens. This sine x and that sine x will cancel each other out. And we are left with an answer of cos x, which is one trig ratio. There we go. All done. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video.